Or no, it's not there.
It is going to be there. They can change
maybe
it.
we should change it to $1 Million Ideas and Cocktails. But I guess you don't.
I'm going to let you guys get it going.
Yeah.
Give it a second. It's going to come up here. All right. So now you're going to need to go live We're not live yet. So you're going to go live inside of YouTube, and then we will be fully live.
Can they?
If you want to change the name, you could do it now.
It says live.
Give it a little time. There's a little delay. I don't have service on this real stuff for me.
Okay, awesome. Y'all can see us.
We are.
Welcome.
Yay! We figured it out.
Yeah.
Shout out to everybody in the chat that was all encouraging.
Yes.
Thank you, Val. Val was like, y'all put a like in there so that we can like what we're about to receive. I saw Michael saying, go get your cocktail.
Go get your cocktail.
And you guys are seeing it live on your end?
Awesome.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. The chat's going. We made it. Okay.
And you guys, and there's going to be a point later on in this where we're going to get to answer your questions. So if y'all have questions as they come up, go ahead and put them up there, and then we'll be able to go back and answer.
Yeah, we can see you in the chat.
Yes, we can see your chat. So fun. Well, welcome, y'all. Thank you for coming to hang out with us for $1 Million Ideas and Cocktails with Rachel Rodgers, Tara Reid, and Teri Ijeoma.
Hey.
We have our cocktails here. We have sangria. So let's start by cheersing and saying, you know what? Thank you for the ability to help other people and pour into them. And also thank you for millions of dollars. Because we have all made millions. So let's cheers on that. Cheers, y'all. Cheers. Get your drinks, guys.
Anybody else have their cocktail with them? I love it. Okay,
cocktails, mocktails, tea, whatever you
whatever
drink, with it
is.
Mm-hmm. Sparkling grape juice.
Mm-hmm.
This is delicious. We are drinking sangria made by Chef Bia, and she's amazing. So thank you, Chef Bia. So my first question for y'all is, how did you come up with your $1 million idea? I feel like folks would love to know, right? We all have a $1 million idea inside of us, right? But it's like, how do you know it's the one? Or how do you figure out what it is? Did it just come to you? Or did you have to like really do some soul searching to figure it out? So who wants to go first?
Yeah. Ooh, I can go first. So I've had a couple really great ideas in my career. A lot of them have come from sharing.
Yes.
Like really sharing what I was working on and going through. So if I think about, for example, Apps Without Code and the training program that I run now, that came out of me blogging about my journey building my first app. So I run a company called Apps Without Code. We teach people how to build their own apps. And I was blogging about my journey building an app.
Yes.
I did a TEDx talk that I got invited to do because of the blog on building how to build apps.
I love it.
And then I got a bunch of people emailing me saying, wait a minute, I have my own idea for an app. Can you show me how to do it?
Help me. Help me.
Exactly. And for a long time, my answer was no, because I was running my first company. And I was like, I'm just blogging about this to share. It's just a practice of sharing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And actually, someone had to force me to write that blog and to share. I did not want to do that blog at all. But I'm so glad that I did, because other people got to benefit from it. So sharing as a practice was one of the things that really made me see, oh, look, lots of people need this. Lots of people want this.
Yeah.
And so I sort of stumbled upon it by seeing how people were responding, but that's because I was putting myself out there.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's so important. I love what you shared too about like you put yourself out there, you start to see what people are responding to, and then you know, oh, I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
What was it for you, Teri?
And I'll tell you mine in a second, but I also love that you responded to the need.
Yes.
Like instead of just trying to like make something up, like you were just putting out there, and then people were asking for you to give more.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Because you know when you have a good idea when you see people's responses to it, right?
Yeah.
There's kind of like a quiet response, and then there's like a nod and like, oh yeah, or like I would like that too. And that's, I think, when you know you're onto something.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I have a framework for $1 Million Ideas, and one of them is in demand, right? Like it needs to be something that's in demand. So it needs to be something that people are responding to. It's a problem people want to spend money to solve, right? Because it could be a lovely idea, but if it's not enough of an idea that is important enough to people that they're willing to spend money for it, it won't go anywhere. So making sure that it's in demand. And because sometimes I think as entrepreneurs, we think, I just want to do whatever I feel like doing. And it's like, that's lovely, right? Like you might want to run around in the field with fairy wings, but do people want to pay you for that?
Yeah, it's maybe for a hobby.
I don't know, but like you got to find that out, right?
Yeah. Go run, baby. Do your fairy thing.
Exactly. Listen, run through the fields in your spare time, but come up with an idea that people actually want so you can make some money. Okay, because that's important.
Yeah. So I knew that I was going to be a millionaire, but I thought that I would be one in real estate.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like I got my real estate license at the same time that I started investing. So way back in 2010.
Yes.
And I actually became a real estate broker in Texas. So that means I could have real estate agents under me. I thought I was going to have this really great real estate firm that we were going to help all the people in Texas relocate, and that's how I would have my millions.
Yes. First of all, can't you see that? Like, can you see Teri on a billboard? Buy with Teri.
Oh,
with her
absolutely.
Absolutely. My cards were so cute. I had like my little real estate cards and my face on there, and then like apartment in the
story.
Back. Yeah, I love real estate.
Yes.
This is so random, but people on YouTube, y'all gonna be like, what? So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of my YouTube, my very first videos are all apartment tours.
Get the artifacts.
Wow. Yeah. Listen, those artifacts are valuable. At the bottom, my YouTube channel is youtube.com/hello7 right now, but we changed it because before it used to be my law practice. And I was on there whispering, y'all. Like I would just be like, so here's what you need to do. And I'm like, did I not want anybody to hear me? Correct.
I did probably at the office doing this. So I don't want my boss to know, but this is what
it's not that. I was just so afraid to be seen. Anybody else relate to that? Like we're so afraid to be seen that I had long hair, so I had my hair like covering as much as possible. And was whispering. Y'all can go find those artifacts too. It is absolutely hilarious. And now people know me as this loud mouth. I laugh real loud. Like I'm so obnoxious.
Oh, this is great.
But this is a theme of like how hard it is to put yourself out there.
Yes.
I'm being dragged to write my blog.
Yes.
You're over here whispering. And so if people are feeling like, oh, I'm the only one where it's hard to put myself out there, like clearly that's not true.
It's not true.
Yes.
And you got to get over that though if you're going to really get to the next level.
That's right. You do. You just and you just have to start doing it, right? Like the more you do it, because even though I was afraid, I was still doing those videos. So I'm so proud of 2011 me, right? It was like, I'm gonna do these videos anyway because I got kids to feed and I need money.
But how do you get over that hump and that fear? Because I know so many people get stuck and they're like, I just don't know how to get over that.
Yes. I think you just have to, first of all, I think you have to want what's on the other side of it. And if you think about, I try to think about the person. So even today, if I have a speaking gig and I feel a little bit nervous, I'm like, what is the message that they need to hear? Let me focus on that and not focusing on myself, right?
Yeah.
Do I look cute enough? Oh, my hair's out of place. I'm scared I'm a trip. Right? Like whatever it is, I'm going to forget everything I want to say. I also get cotton mouth sometimes when I'm speaking. Does that happen to anybody else?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
My mouth gets so dry that I could like barely move my mouth apart. Like it's so wild. It's happened to me twice on speaking gigs. So I get nervous about all of those things. But when I think about what is the message that the folks need to hear who are in the audience? How can I help them? When I focus on helping other people, I get over myself and I'm just like, listen, here's the tips y'all need, y'all.
Because really, like people aren't even thinking about you. Like you're worried about how you look or how you're going to come off.
Give us these tips.
Man, I don't know. I think people do care. They do care because I always get the random person. Like right now, I have a button that's undone. I'm going to get a comment, Teri, your button was undone. And I'm going to say, I don't care.
Yes,
that's fair.
You had one hair out of place. There was a typo. And it's like, yes, boo-boo, it's okay. There was a typo and I'm still out here making millions.
I'm so glad you were there. I'm so glad you were there.
That's one of the things that sort of changes over time too, right? Because at the beginning, there's not that many people who are looking.
Yes.
Right? And so it's kind of fine.
Yeah.
And so the things you think about sort of change. And then you start to like, as you put yourself out there, more people are listening. And then I think you start to get more of that.
Yes.
Right.
Another fun fact. If you go to the beginning of my Instagram
I'm about
journey,
to go look at this.
I know. This is what I'm doing tonight.
So on the Teri Ijeoma Instagram page, I started out just blogging where I was traveling. And the whole reason I started it was just because my family kept saying, well, send us updates. And I was like, I'm not going to send everybody an update.
Right.
So what I'll do is I'll put a picture up each day on Instagram and I'll just let y'all know. And it was like my blog to myself.
Yeah.
So like really people started following me just because I was blogging my travels.
Yes.
I had no intent to do anything else with it. It was just to make life easier for myself.
Yes. And then
At the beginning, you're talking to yourself. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. You're talking to yourself. I'm blogging for myself. Yeah.
Blogging for yourself, making videos for myself.
Yeah.
Instagram, right? Like you just start, and if you're consistent, more and more people will show up, and you'll be like, I don't know you. You're not my cousin. You're not my uncle. Where you come from?
Right. It's like, oh, you like this? Oh, okay, cool. Welcome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club. Okay, so tell us how you got your $1 million idea.
Yes. Okay. So from real estate, I actually was helping. So I was working at Teach for America at the time, and I was helping teachers relocate. And I would make like $50,000, $60,000 a summer on top of my job by helping them. So I started investing. So when I tell people the story of like I was investing as a side hustle, like that's where the money was coming from. It was coming from real estate.
Yes.
And then like I was in education. For those who don't know my story, my last job was assistant principal of an elementary school. I quit that to start traveling, and I was affording it by trading stocks. And like that's where trade and travel comes from, because that's what I did.
Right.
Right. And while I was gone, people started asking me to teach them. And so then I was like, no, I'm not.
As one does. I ain't got time for that. I'm out here trying to get these ones.
I just left my job. I don't want to teach again. But I finally went to one co-working space in Thailand and said, okay, y'all, everybody who's been asking me, let's do it. So did a class in Thailand, loved it. Did one in Vietnam, loved it. And then got back to Texas, because another fun fact about me. I don't know if y'all know like some of my backstory, but
I'm learning new stuff.
did you know that I went to seminary for 7 years?
I did know that.
Okay.
I did know that.
I don't remember that fact.
Yeah. So while I was abroad, the seminary called me and was like, if you don't come back right now, then you're going to have to start all over.
What?
Yes. And this was I had been in seminary for 7 years.
Wait a minute. Why so long?
Girl,
Why does it take so long?
It takes forever, because I went to Dallas Theological Seminary. We have to take a class for every book in the Bible. And then I did media and communication. So then I did the media stuff on top of it.
Yes.
So it just took forever. And then I was working at the same time. I was working in ministry. And so I would only do classes in the summer. So it just took forever.
Yes.
And while I was gone, they were like, so it's about that time. You got a deadline on this degree. If you don't finish. And I actually remember thinking like, well, it's not that important. Nothing about the seminary degree is going to help my life. Like, why do I want to go back?
Yes.
But I remember my grandmother was like, no, it's time to come back. And then another person was like, but it'd be good to finish. Like, at least you did all this work, finish.
Yeah. Did you want to finish? Or were you being pulled different ways?
At that time, like I'm abroad and I'm traveling and I'm loving life.
Yeah, living your best life. And then like come home and study some more.
Right.
And you're like, actually, that was not my plan.
And the people I was with were about to go to Bali. And that
like,
was
on Bali.
I still haven't been to Bali yet.
Me either.
Okay, next trip.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Okay.
But yeah, like I didn't really want to come back, but I'm so glad I did, because when I came back, my grandmother passed away like the next week.
Wow.
So I'm so thankful that I had come back, because I got to say goodbye. Yeah. If I had been abroad and that happened, I would have been torn apart.
Wow.
So it worked out for the best.
Yeah.
And then I finished seminary, but at seminary was where I did my first class for trade and travel.
Yes.
My last finals week, I asked the school, could I use a classroom? Because people keep asking me about trading. And they were like, so you're going to teach the class? Because, it's a seminary. So they're like, wait, why is she doing a finance class here? But one of the advisors at the school was like, okay, no, she's going to teach it. I support it, because he was a trader, even though he was a dean at the school. So yeah, that's where trade and travel got started, at seminary.
That's interesting. So when did you know it was $1 million idea?
I didn't. I just kept working, and all of a sudden the million started coming. Yeah. Like I'm the type of person where like I just want to serve to the best of my ability. So like I had 2 people when I first started. I served them well, and then it was 35 people. Yeah. And that was so exciting, because it was like $65,000. And I was like, this is awesome. This is what I used to make as a principal. Yeah. And then assistant principal. And then the next year was my first $1 million year. Yes. But I was just serving and trying to make sure the people that were coming, I was serving them well. And they kept coming.
Yes.
There's such an interesting kind of like formula that's coming out in this conversation, because it starts with you putting yourself out there uncomfortably and kind of talking to yourself, not with a big audience, and just doing it anyway.
Just
starting anyway. Yeah. And then like hitting on something where people are responding in a way where they're like, oh, can you? And there being some resistance. Like you're resistant to it a little bit.
Oh
like,
my gosh. Do you know that whole first year when I was actually building the curriculum, I wanted to quit every day. Because it was so hard. Like you have to make yourself get up, make yourself write out the slides. And I think now people see our success and they think it was easy.
Yeah.
Like I remember sitting at the computer having to think through, how do I teach this? Like, how do I make it understandable? How do I put this together? And people now, they might want to like just pirate our stuff, but it's like, that took hours and months and then years of combing and reteaching to get it to be what it should be.
Refining it, reworking it, filming it again once you've already filmed it. Lord.
Yeah.
And then redoing all the worksheets and everything. It's like, building curriculum is not, so everybody's like, start a course. It's so easy. And it's like, I love courses. I think courses are great. They make you good money, but it's work like anything else.
Yeah.
And you got to put work in, and it has to be good because when it's good, that's what makes it sell. Like it's the same thing for my book. I stopped marketing it after the book launch, right? Like I just keep doing what I'm doing, but people share it. And then it's just exactly what you were saying. It's the book itself is what's selling it.
Yeah.
Your training itself is what's selling it, right?
Yeah.
Like you talking about what you were doing, people are like, yes, I want more of that.
Yeah.
So
I think especially with courses, people don't realize that we are authors, but instead of my book, like my course is my authorship. Like this is the work.
It is almost, I would say it's probably more work in some ways than writing a book because you got to film stuff and all of that.
Yeah.
But I do think it's very similar, like there's a whole arc to it. There's a story, there's a path you're taking people on, there's a journey.
There's results you want them to get at the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So true.
So true.
How was the writing process? Because people have been asking me to write a book. Like, how was it?
I'm a batcher. So I realized like, I'm not good at, my mom would be like, just do a little a day. She used to always say that to me about every little thing that I had to do. Just do a little bit a day. And I'm like, Mom,
consistently.
I'm not a little bit a day type girl. Like I'm not a little bit of, I need to go, I need runway. I need a free day, week or whatever. And I will bang it out, because I get excited about something and then I just want to get it done. Yeah. And once a project is old, it's real. I hold on for dear life because I have more quick start than follow through, right? Like I follow through because I'm committed to things and because I have a whole bunch of team members that help me follow through. But like I get excited and I need to put that energy there now while I'm excited. So what I did was I flew to Hawaii, spent a week with my friend who's a writing coach. And she like basically babysat me while I wrote my book. And I had to get a chapter a day done. And that's how the introduction through the chapter 4 of We Should All Be Millionaires got written. Then once you have momentum, I would come home and like each week, every Friday I had off and I would just use that day to just bang out a chapter.
But writing momentum is so important. And I think like a lot of people are out there trying to work on their project and trying to do little a day.
Yes.
And there's so many days where you're just not feeling it, that is really difficult.
Yes.
And an alternative, and I think this is an alternative for everybody, but I think particularly for like women entrepreneurs who kind of have these like intuitive waves of things just sort of coming, the ping comes and you're like, I know what to do.
Yes.
And I oftentimes will see people get the ping, I know what to do, but I'll do it later.
I know.
Don't do
it later.
No,
do it. Clear the decks.
Now.
Because life is full of so many distractions. So it's so easy to say like, I'm going to do a little a day, but then that time gets eaten away. You got to just give it some runway.
Yeah.
And I'm with you on the, like, I need to do it now and get it done.
Yes.
Because otherwise I guess I get bored easy.
Yes.
So like if I don't put it down right now and like all the juicy thoughts right now in 2 minutes, it's not going to be here.
Yep.
No. Yep. I'm going to be like squirrel and on to the next thing.
Yeah. And you have to know your formula for what gets you in that like, all right, I'm going to get it out of my head mode.
Yeah.
I remember when I was building my first app, it was like I had a drink, usually like a whiskey bourbon and dubstep. Dubstep music.
Listen, that works for me.
Dubstep music. And just like, I would just be like, I'm in it. Don't bother me. I'm plugged in.
Wait, y'all gotta tell me. I don't know what dubstep is. Give me an example. Is it like boom? Like,
wait, you were
I was
not that
on
far.
it?
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, it's like if electronic and hip hop kind of had a baby together, and it's like,
so
Yes.
we're Googling dubstep after this.
That's exactly what I listened to while I wrote my book. It's really good. That and then
I got a playlist for you.
Okay.
I would switch back and forth between that and Baroque music because it's actually studied that Baroque music helps your brain process things.
What's Baroque music?
It's
Now,
like
I don't
from what is it from? Like the 1800s or something. And it's like the music that you see when you watch period pieces. You know what I mean?
like a classical kind of music?
Yes, it's classical music. Yes, but it's loud. It's kind of loud, but something about it. But there, and I'll no words.
How many of y'all have ever heard? This is called what?
Baroque.
Baroque
music.
You're a
I'm
fan
sure
of
some
Baroque
of them have
music?
heard.
Please put that in the chat.
It's really good for thinking and for processing things. So
Interesting.
sometimes I would
Check it out.
switch back and forth. Like I'd be like, okay, let me get into that zone.
Tell us in the chat if you have like a genre of music that's your like
Gets
I'm
you
in flow, I'm in the zone
It gets you
music.
going.
Yes, it helps
Okay.
you. So like I have book 2 due, right? It was actually due in October. Not gonna happen, y'all. I'm just gonna let you know right now. I already told my publisher, so no worries.
Okay, so this is not a secret.
It's not a secret. But I've been trying to write book 2 like almost all year long. And I'm just realizing like it ain't gonna happen if I just put it in the crevices, right? So I just booked a week. The same writing coach, she's flying to me. She's coming to the ranch. And then we are going to spend the week just getting it done. And by the end of the week, we want to have a draft complete.
See, isn't accountability important?
It is. I need
Like
babies.
it sounds like even when you are a boss, even when you're at these high levels,
Yes.
like you need accountability.
Absolutely.
100%. And that's why I always spend money on coaching. I'm always in a mastermind because I need that accountability.
Yeah.
I need to be meeting every other week and asked like what my wins are. Because then I'm like, well, I got to come with something, right? Let me go do this thing before the call. So I can come and share this win, you know?
The other benefit of that is that it's so easy to discredit your wins.
Yes.
Right. To like be particularly as ambitious people to be thinking about the next thing and you forgot all about the win that you did last week because you're on to the next thing.
Yes.
And that's not actually a good recipe for keeping going because you're not like, you don't feel like you have a push from the wins.
Yes.
So having someone ask you about, well, tell me about what happened in the last few weeks and what wins you had makes a huge difference.
Yes. I think you get a lot more momentum if you actually celebrate your wins because otherwise it just feels like a slog. You just feel like you're just working endlessly, you know, with no results, right? So if you don't stop and acknowledge it and celebrate it, and I always ask my clients and my friends like, okay, what are we doing to celebrate that? How are you going to treat yourself? Okay.
Yeah.
You got to treat yourself.
Yeah.
So let's come up with what's our reward for getting that done. And even on my team, right? If we hit certain like launch milestones, we get an extra day off or we get other things, you know, other benefits so that we all like know like, okay, we worked hard and we reward ourselves. I think that's an important cadence to follow.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're just working hard endlessly and you burn yourself out.
Yeah.
I have a confession. I've been doing a terrible job celebrating my own wins lately.
Me too.
I've been doing I'm not doing it well.
I'm not good at it.
Okay, well, I'm going to schedule a calendar reminder to ask Teri and Tara what are their wins.
Yeah. We should do that. I
I'll
need
take
that
it.
help.
And then
I need
we'll
that
have
help.
to cheers again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we all have like some element of like a negative self-talk that pops up.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have 2. One of them is I'm not enough. I'm not doing enough.
Mhm.
That's one of them. And if I let her, she gets really loud.
Mhm.
And
she's probably mean and
she's
rude.
mean. She's so mean and rude for no reason. Yeah. So first I had to figure out like that's not me. That voice is not me. That's somebody else doing that. And then have to like get into the practice of moving her to the side so I can celebrate my wins for a second. Because it's hard to celebrate your wins and I'm not enough. I'm not doing enough.
Right. So true.
And like that is exacerbated when you're on social media because then it's everybody else is doing everything and I'm not doing enough really shows
Rages.
up.
Yeah.
It's so true. And then other people will tell you you're not doing enough in the comments.
Right. Where you been?
Or your mama or somebody. Somebody should have been.
You got typos. Your hair's out of place. I ain't seen you in a while.
You know what's crazy? Like this happened to me, especially even with Teachable. I remember first competition that I did with them, thinking that everybody else is better than me. So I'm going in thinking like, well, everybody's having these 6-figure days. Everybody is doing this. Well, at the time it was like a 6-figure month.
Yes.
And then it wasn't until I saw the leaderboard that I knew like, wait, no, you're different. So sometimes I do think like people have to show you, or you have to be able to see it visually to say like, actually, no, like you're doing well. You are doing enough.
Yes.
Sometimes I have clear evidence and I still can't get it together.
Really?
Like, I'll give you an example. Like 2 days ago, I found myself in a whole panic because we're working on a new software. And I'm like, oh no, like we should have more done. Now, mind you, we're ahead of schedule. I don't know if anyone has ever made software before. Being ahead of schedule is like unheard of. But we're ahead of the schedule.
We're ahead of schedule, and it's still
I'm panicked because, like, well, we could have more by now, and like, I made up a whole story about that, and so like sometimes doing that work, I've been like, wait, hold on, but also like that's a scenario where like I can look at the calendar, I clearly see that like it's ahead of schedule. The user feedback that we have is great, and still I'm tripping.
You're better than me though, because you had a calendar. See, I wouldn't even had a schedule to know I was ahead of schedule. So you're doing
Fair
good.
enough.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm the worst. Okay, because I feel like something like that, like we'd be ahead of schedule, and my team would be celebrating, and I'd be like, but did we reach the finish line yet?
It's not done. Exactly.
I'm such a killjoy sometimes. I'm sorry, y'all.
But tell you the truth though, I think that's needed.
Yes.
I just went to a mastermind with Grant Cardone, and he talked about how he is that person for his team.
Yes.
He's always the one that is holding them to bigger targets and pushing them to bigger targets, because if not, who will?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I feel like the reason that you are in this $1 million successful area is because you are able to say, but can we do better?
Yes.
And can we think bigger?
Yes. Can we push the envelope?
Yeah. Can we do this faster?
Yes. But I think it is also important for you as the leader and the team, everybody, to celebrate the wins that are accomplished so far, right?
So true.
And not always be in a space of like, that was not enough, so do better next time, y'all. First it's in your head, the mean girl in your head, then the mean girl to your team
comes out.
Yes. So you have to watch it, right? And I think that's good motivation for me, like my inner child that's always saying it's not enough because I wanted more attention or whatever, right? Whatever's going on. And so I know that I have that. And so it's important to just manage it, and to not spill it out on other people that are also working on things. And actually, like, members of my team will be like, this was great. This was more than enough. That was amazing. And I'm just like, I'm going to choose to trust you right now.
Your team is over there. Good job, team. Yeah. Cause I'd be like, but it's not. Are you sure? No.
But I think here's the other thing I think you should do. I think you should front load it. So like if you're somebody like you who struggles to celebrate your wins, and you should build it in so you have to do it and make it mandatory, right? So like if we complete this ahead of schedule, then we're going to do X. We're going to take 2 days off, and you tell your team.
I love that.
Then you have that accountability built in. You're taking 2 days off, and everybody's going to ask, what are y'all doing for the 2 days? And you can't be like working.
That's right. Something cool, something fun.
Good.
Exactly. So like, I think it's good to front load it. And I do sometimes something that my friend Susan Hyatt calls pre-capping, which is like, you know how there's a recap that's like after something has happened, you recap it. She pre-caps. So she says, okay, I'm going to do this thing, right? Like if y'all have a goal for what you want to accomplish before the end of the year, right? You could say, you pre-cap. And so what that means is you write a letter to yourself, or you could write it to a friend, right? And say, hey y'all, guess what happened? I did this and I did that, and all of these things happened, and I made these moves, and here was the response, and here's how much money I made, and here's how successful it was, and I'm so happy. And like, just like writing a letter to yourself, pre-capping what you believe is going to happen. Like before a launch, you could do this. Before other special events or big milestones, you can do this. And you could even encourage your team to do it too for like big projects, right? And then you're going to read it in 3 months, right? Like after when you hit that goal, and go back and read and see what happened. And part of it is training your brain, right? To think differently. And then part of that pre-capping letter also is saying, here's how I'm going to celebrate all of the success. And you could even, Susan pre-caps by like, I'm going to buy myself a gift before the launch. To say, this was about to happen. I'm kind of that mindset too. Like I will definitely be like, okay, we're gonna go ahead and we had a good book launch, so I'm gonna put this beach house under contract before the book even launches.
Claim the win
Because
now.
I'm just gonna claim it now.
Motivation.
Yes.
Yeah.
For some people, that would stress them out, but I think it's a good way, the pre-capping at least, and the pre-building in the celebration, right? Booking the trip or whatever it is to make sure that you are putting yourself always in a positive light, always in a positive mindset. Because here's the thing. This is something that I heard Myron Golden say.
Yeah.
He says, like, whatever you believe about the future is a lie, right? We actually don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? So like we could say, I'm going to end the year with XYZ done, or with a certain amount of money in the bank, or whatever thing you want to accomplish. You're lying because you actually don't know what's going to happen, right? So if you're going to lie to yourself, tell yourself good lies rather than bad lies. Tell yourself lies that serve you rather than lies that make you feel like you can't make it happen, right? So tell yourself something like, I'm going to hit my goals and I'm so excited about how we're going to make this happen, right? Instead of telling yourself, it's never going to work, it's going to fail, you know, I'm going to struggle, I'm going to file for bankruptcy, right? This is what we do. No one's going to want my stuff. And you manifest it because you bring that energy into it. And then when you're in that energy, you're not going to feel in momentum when you're doing the action steps, right? To get the thing. So if you're bringing like crappy energy and Eeyore vibes, right, to the action steps themselves, it's not going to attract the people that you want. It's not going to help you grow your business. You know what I mean? So you gotta shift how you even approach it. When I write copy, I need to be in a good mood. I need to be like, listen, guess what, y'all, right? Like I have to be excited about what I'm doing. Don't bring that energy into it. Because I think if you add the bad energy, it actually causes a negative outcome.
Anybody watching this in the chat, you can tell us in the chat. Anyone been bringing bad Eeyore,
let me say,
grumpy energy to your project?
I'm looking at your answers right now.
I mean, we can admit anyone been bringing that energy to the project you're working
Jennifer's
on.
like, tell yourself good lies. Yes. Actually, in the chat, I want you guys to do an exercise. First, put in there a lie that you've been telling yourself that's not serving you. Go ahead and release that lie. Whether it's, I don't think we're going to make our goals by the end of the year. Whether it's, I don't think we're going to have the team. Anything that's not serving you. And then after you've put that into the world and let that go ahead and put into the chat, what's the new thing that you're going to tell yourself about your future?
I love that.
Can I ask you guys something tough? Spur of the moment.
Okay.
What would your pre-cap be for end of the year?
For this year?
This year. It's got 3 months, last quarter of the year.
Yeah. Well, it's so interesting, right? Because one of our outside financial advisors for the team has met with the president recently, and they were like, I don't think you should make these moves that you're about to make because, you know, we're in a recession. Let's put it off till next year. Let's not go forward with some of the like investments that we were about to make to grow the company. And I was just immediately like, absolutely not. So my problem is I struggle with small thinking. Don't ask me to be small ever in any way, because I'm immediately going to fight that. I just can't do it. Like I literally can't be in integrity with myself and do it the small way. Like I'd really rather take the risk and fail than play small.
That's good.
That's the truth of the matter. Like I don't enjoy failing, right? I don't want to fail, but I just have to keep taking those risks. I feel like how I got here, right? Like I was like a little broke child, right? From a low income family, right? Like that used to get like the government cheese, that big block of cheese. They did not slice that for
that
you.
Does not work in nachos well. Just for an FYI.
It's not good in sandwiches. It's
Velveeta is much better in the nachos than the government cheese.
The lard,
just
like all of it. Okay. So like none of this is like a predictable outcome, right? Like it's not a something you would expect to have happened from where I come from, right? And the experience that I had. So if that's true, why would I listen to conventional advice, right? That's telling me to play small or play it safe or be conservative. It's just not my ministry. I just have to go big always, because that's that's just how God made me.
So
You know?
what's your big
Yeah,
end
where
of
you
year
going?
thing then? Where are you going?
Well, I, you know, because the other part of that is what happens is then we start pulling back. Well, our goal was to make 17 million by the end of this year at Hello 7. And then then it's like, well, let's just say we're going to make this amount instead. You know what I mean? We start pulling it back. How about no? How about we just go all in and make it happen? And also fourth quarter, that's always my quarter.
Right, let's
get hyped in
go.
fourth quarter. So I'm like, what are we going to do? What are we launching? What are we coming up with? What strategies are we going to do to like hit those big goals and not just dial it in, right? Because anybody would say, you know, a business like ours, as much as we make, people would be like, well, that's good enough, right? And I'm like, no,
no, it's
because
not.
that's not the number we put on the board at the beginning of the year. So we gonna make it happen, right?
And taxes are real, so we need to have like 8 figures after tax, right?
Yes.
So I'm gonna need to like have these bigger numbers so we can.
Exactly. And we have a 5-year plan. And if we don't hit our numbers this year, how does that affect next year? And you know, like people are always like, well, it's a recession. Yes, but I choose not to participate when it comes to my business. I started my business in a recession. I started my business in 2010 and I couldn't get a job at a law firm, not one that I wanted, right? And so I started my law practice, which then became Hello 7. But like, I've been through a recession. I've been through a pandemic. Like, don't let that scare you. People won't spend money. I'm still spending money. Y'all still spending money. We still showing up and doing things. So don't assume that because the economy is bad, that means that everything is going to fail and you're going to fail. No one wants your offers. There's no point in even trying, right? That's what we do. I think the fear makes us not even take action. And so we have to get over that and just push through anyway, right? Like some of the best businesses are born during recessions. So this is an opportunity.
And I'm seeing you guys all about it. LB says, I'm going to start my business and it'll be successful. People will love my event decorating business. Yes. My course will launch in 2022. Yes. The Captain Queen. I'm going to uncover all the strategies I need to hit my business goals. Go big. C. White says, go big.
Yes.
Go big.
See, here's the thing I think that we need to realize is sometimes recessions or these moments where like the economy is not good or whatever, it forces us to get back to basics in business, right? It forces us to go back to our clients and say, what is it that you actually need from me?
Yes.
What is it that I actually do for you that helps you, right? How can I best support you in this time? We just go back to talking to our clients and stop guessing and saying like, let me go back to what's tried and true. Let me go back to the relationship that I have with my community, right? And when you do that, you gonna win, right?
And go back to your first love.
Yeah.
Take away all the little extra stuff. And
Yes,
like
all the
hone and
distractions.
focus in. This is the thing that we really want to make amazing.
Yes. Exactly. So good.
I think for me, what you just said really resonates about going back to your first love and really doing things that spark you up and excite you.
Yes.
I know that for me, like one of the goals that I have is launching, we've already launched it, so let me say it differently, sort of launching the next version of the software that I'm working on. And it has been such an exciting thing for me because it's something that I love. Like, I love making things that like thousands, millions of people can use. I love that.
Yes.
I love being able to like iterate on it and like you get a notification on your phone that there's a new update to an app. And, like I love those because I'm like, ooh, what did they do? What did they create next? Like I love in my own nerdy way. I love that. This like, oh, there's always got to be a better way. There's got to be a better thing to do, that tweaking. So for me, that's one of my goals for this year and one of the things that I'm going to do this year. But I think it's really connected to doing something that sparks me up and lights me up and makes me feel self-expressed.
Yes.
And I think finding the balance between what you were talking about earlier, something that people are willing to pay for, and also something that lights you up and makes you feel self-expressed. Right. As we talk about sort of like ascending, you guys ever seen that like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where like at the very bottom you need like food, shelter, like basic things, and at the top what you need is like self-expression, to feel fully expressed in yourself. And one of the things I'm working on is self-expression.
Higher.
Like I've got
self-expression.
But like putting yourself, a piece of yourself, a piece of your ideas out into the world. That's what self-expression, self-actualization looks like. Paired with getting out of your way consistently of when you're doubting or sabotaging or whatever that is. So I have both personal and business goals that I'm working on, things that I want to launch, and also like layers of myself that are not useful, that are sabotaging, that I want to like keep
Just be done
moving
with.
away.
Yes.
Yep. And just
Yeah.
being in a practice of it, because it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah, it really
Like
is.
a practice of regularly, like, no, we're not doing that part.
Yes.
Yes. I love it. What you just
Mm.
said is another part of the $1 Million Idea framework that I teach, which is enjoyable, right? So if you have a $1 Million idea, it needs to be something that's in demand, but it also needs to be something that is aligned with your strengths,
Yeah,
how
I like
you show
that.
up, how you best serve, something that you actually enjoy. And like people don't realize how that, when people ask me like, what would sell? What's hot in the industry? What kind of business should I start? I'm always like, no. That's not where we start. Okay.
Yes.
We have to go back to what brings you joy. What's your natural talents? What are you drawn to? What excites you?
Yeah.
Because you have to be consistent for years.
Yes.
And
you're
you got to talk about that thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Forever. Okay? Maybe not
Forever.
forever, but you get the point. So like if you got to show up consistently, you're not going to do that with something that you don't care about, that you don't have passion for, you have no
Yeah.
interest in. It's so much like I'm like anti-discipline, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like you don't need discipline if you love it and you just wake up and want to do it anyway. You know, like if you do it for free or you just it's so exciting to do it, like that's the stuff that I think makes for the best businesses where you can just keep showing up every day and it doesn't feel hard.
Do you
How
guys
many?
know?
Oh, go ahead.
I was wondering if you guys know that concept of ikigai. It's like
No.
a Japanese concept. If you think about like 3 circles and where they overlap, it's the intersection of what you love, what you're good at, and what makes you money. And like right in the
Okay.
middle of that
Yes.
is called your ikigai. That's your
Yes.
thing. Right?
Wait,
And
say it again. So what you love.
what you're good at, and what makes you money. And there's something that overlaps all 3 of those things, and that's called your ikigai.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love to trade. I'm good at it, and it makes me money.
Right. That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so true. Exactly. And that was for me.
good.
Like I started as a lawyer and I wouldn't have never known if I didn't go down that path that I love to run a business. Right. Like it was like the running of the business that I loved. I hated the practice of law,
Yeah.
but I loved running a business. And so I would have never discovered that if I wouldn't have just taken the leap and started my own practice.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just got to take the next step. It may not be the final step, but it may lead you to what your next thing is, right? Like you going back to graduate from seminary, right? And how that led you to, you know, making
My
trade
next
and travel
thing,
your
right.
next thing. Yes.
So true. And I do love, like, there's a part of me when we think about like my pre-cap, there is a part of me that knows like I'm ordained to serve. Like I will always be in ministry, but it will just look different in different ways.
Yes.
Like whether I'm serving people through like just sharing ideas or whether it's teaching, trading, whatever it is, it'll just look a little different.
Yes.
But like I needed to finish seminary because like it's just part of me.
Yes.
Like I want to know the word. I want to know what I'm teaching. I want to know what I believe, like what my faith is about. And then I can help teach others, you know?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I bet that there's a lot of people who are hearing this conversation though and feeling doubtful about what their thing is. Like it sounds like we all have so much confidence about like this is the thing that I love, that I'm good at, and it makes me money. And and I would imagine that maybe even if you haven't used that word ikigai, like you've thought about this a little bit.
Yeah.
That intersection. What would you say to people who are like, but I don't know what my thing is. I don't know what I love. I don't know what makes me money.
Yes.
I think sometimes we get so focused on what is my purpose that we forget to just follow our passion.
Yes.
And sometimes it's just, what is that thing that intrigues you? Go do that. And then keep following that trail until you get to somewhere where you're like, oh, this thing actually makes me money.
Yes.
Like I was watching Get Good with Money, the Netflix with Tiffany Lee and all the people. And there was the one girl who was an artist. And she was a waiter, and I think she was trying to create waiting into the thing because she was like, well, that's what other people will pay me for. But there was this whole artistry that she's amazing at that ends up becoming her business, but she just followed her passion and it actually became her thing. I feel like if we were more into what is our passion and let me find it along the way, then like, let me find this, like, this is the one-time thing for life.
Yes.
Then we'd be so much more successful.
Because it can change.
It can totally change.
And it does change over time.
Totally change.
I think it has to do with trusting yourself and following that inkling.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, like you said, what you're intrigued by, what you're interested in. You don't have to know how it's going to make you money. You don't have to have figured it all out right at the outset, right? You can just start to follow it and see where does it take you and where are there opportunities? I think when you start to immerse yourself and get interested in something, you start to figure out how it can make you money or what the next steps are, you know? So I think it's just like trusting yourself and trusting your own interests and deciding that your desires are important enough to follow, you know? I think we always have to have an end goal or an ROI on everything. And that sometimes stops us from actually finding the ROI, you know, because we're so focused on that. We miss like the opportunity there. And we're so focused on, well, no one's going to pay me for that. How you know? How you know what? Pete, you could sell rocks and it could be $1 million business. Okay.
Girl, I've seen some people at festivals with some rocks.
Listen,
they painted on that rock and $10. Please.
Yes. And my favorite is every holiday season, Tiffany's is selling some like, you know, 24 karat white gold, like paper clip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or like
somebody's buying it.
Somebody is buying it. Trust me, they making it every holiday season because somebody buying it. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just like, whatever the most absurd thing that you've seen for sale, know that that is a whole business. Okay. So you could create a business too.
How many of you all, this is for those in the chat, and then also you guys can admit that there's been a time where you've tried to do business for someone else and not for yourself. Like
Interesting.
your ideas, the thing that you were doing in the business, all of it was just to serve their needs or someone else's needs because you felt like that was the only way that you were going to make money. And if you were true to yourself, you would say like, this is not for me though. I'm not happy here.
Yes.
Have y'all been in places like that?
I haven't started it that way, but it's kind of like morphed into that on accident. So if I think about like my first app I was really excited about art and helping people find and discover art. And I was excited about that for myself. Yeah. It started really centered on like what I was excited about, what I loved, what I could make money by. It started there.
Yes.
And then I think we started having conversations with investors and friends and family and like all kinds of people had opinions about the way that we should do it.
Yes.
And that it just started kind of getting funky because I was like taking in some of that. And so it kind of got morphed in a way that I ultimately had to like do a lot of work to untangle all of that, which took time. Like I think if like looking back, I would have loved to not get tangled in that whole confusion about what other people doing it for other people, what they think, all of that.
Yes, I agree. I think you have to limit who you allow to influence you. And you got to be conscious of it, right? Like even on Instagram, I am quick to curate my feed, right? Like I am quick to like shut down. If I'm reading a book and I discover like we're not aligned, I'm tossing it. I'm not reading it, right? Like whatever it is, you got to be careful about who you allow to influence you, right? Because this is a $1 million machine, right? Like your brain has the opportunity to do all kinds of things. And if you let people who can't imagine it because they haven't done the mental work or they don't believe it for themselves, so therefore they can't believe it for you, they're not worthy to hear your dreams. Do not share it with them, right? Find people like in the chat here, right? Find people to connect with who will believe it, right? Who will support you, rather than sharing it with people who you know are going to tear you down, right? Like stop doing it, right? Don't do it over and over again and then have it like, you know, hurt your feelings repeatedly. Then you got to, you know, doubt yourself, go through a whole journey. I don't want to go through that. Listen, you don't get to hear my dreams. You'll see it on the other side. Right?
This is a question for you, Rachel. Someone said that their spouse doubts them often. How do they deal with that? I mean, not like you have a supportive husband, but you're the only one of us who has a husband at the moment. So,
well, listen, he was, he didn't start off super supportive, right? He's supportive now. I mean, we have a whole ranch, so it's easy to be supportive now. He's been supportive for a long time, but in the early days, he was like, when is this thing going to start making money? Like, I think you need to get a job. Okay. Put that law degree to work, baby girl, and go get you a job. Okay. That's what he was telling me. And honestly, he was staying home with the kids while I was trying to get this law practice up and running. And he would keep trying to go get jobs. And I'd be like, I just need you to stay home with these kids. Let me work. And like, you just stay home. It's about to work. It's about to pop. This is what I used to say to him all the time. So I used my influencer strengths to be like, listen, stick with me. Okay. It's coming. Little did I know it was like 3 years away, but whatever. It's still coming though.
It was coming.
It was coming though. And I say to him all the time, you know, I always say to him, I'm like, I was a good investment, huh? That was a good investment on your part. Because, he gave up his career and he, stayed home with kids for years. And he, there were times where he's like, I know you believe it, but I'm not believing it right now, and I would just have to believe for the both of us, and I would just say, stick with me. I think sometimes we forget, like, you got to sell your ideas, right? To all stakeholders involved. So if your partner is a stakeholder, sell your ideas to them, right? They're invested, right? If they were to go take a job or do something that would affect you. So I think it makes sense to sell them on your ideas, right? I sell my kids on my ideas. Here's why this idea is great.
Yeah.
Here's why you're going to love that mommy is doing this thing, right?
So you're not going to sell it, who else is?
Hey, hello.
Right.
And if you're not going to sell it, then do you even want it, right? So, because you're going to have to sell it to your clients and customers. You have to sell your content, even free content. You got to sell. We had to sell y'all on coming here. Okay. Right? We had to send y'all a couple of emails and tell you it was going to be valuable, right? And so you have to sell your ideas even when they are free. And so do that with your partner as well. Also, I encourage you to have them listen to on the Hello 7 podcast. I have 2 different episodes that I've done with my husband. So go find those episodes. You'll see a picture of both of us. That's how you know. And we talk about the division of labor and like being the spouse of an entrepreneur and just all of the challenges and all the things. So you can hear directly from him and listen to it with your spouse. And I think it'll spark some good conversations. And you can say, like, listen, I need your support. I need your help, right? Like, I need you to support me in this vision and in this dream, right? Because if you don't support me, it's going to be really hard for me to make it happen. And that's the truth, because they're an influencer, right? They're in your ear every day. So just tell them what you need. Sometimes we just need to ask for what we need from the people around us,
That's
so good. That's so good. Jayla Ray says, so encouraging. You must sell your idea continuously.
Yes.
And everyone's saying, thank you for sharing. There is another question that came through. Y'all ready for a question? Or
Yes,
you
let's do it.
So Lucky She Holding says, question. So someone said, do not follow your passion. You should follow your effort. For example, if following passion, I try to be an NBA player at 45. Thoughts about following effort?
Well, I mean, what do you mean by effort? Is that just like, to me, you only put effort into the things that you're actually interested in, or if you have to just to get results, right? Or because you care enough. Like, it's effort for me to get myself off the couch and go wipe my son's butt when he's like, mommy, I pooped, like, I'm like, it is always when I'm like about to eat a snack, my show is on and I gotta get myself up, right? So like, I care about him enough to get up. That's effort, but that's not necessarily my passion. So I don't know if I agree. I think effort, passion, I think sometimes it's just wordplay. I would just think about, where do my interests lie? What intrigues me? And I think that you put effort into the things that excite you, that interest you, right? Enough to sustain your interest. And so I think they can be sort of the same thing. I do think we can get caught up on like, I'm not passionate about anything, right? So that can happen too. Yeah. I think just follow your desires. What interests you, right? Like, you were interested in real estate. You started down that path and wound up somewhere else, right? Yeah. When I was a little girl, I wanted to be a lawyer. I went to law school. I practiced law. And then I was like, okay, I'm done with this. Actually, that practicing law was just meant to lead me to becoming a businesswoman, right? Yeah. How could I know that at the beginning? Sometimes you just got to follow the steps and follow the journey and see where it takes you.
Have you guys seen that Disney movie Soul?
Yes.
I love that movie. And in that movie, there's 2 scenes that I think like stand out particular to this conversation. One, like the souls are before they come to Earth, and one of like the leaders is like, oh, you humans and your purpose, trying to figure out like your exact purpose, like so basic, rudimentary, right? That we're like so trying to find this like purpose and what I'm passionate, like so working so hard on it. And that's not actually what life is about. Life is about sort of being present in the moment. The leaf falls and you're able to be like, oh, that's interesting. Let me look at that. Or what about this? That's interesting. Look at that. And those are the things that sort of wind you to the things that are prosperous for you, the things that are interesting for you. Because it's not just passion, it's the intersection of these things. If you want to be a business, right? There's also just things you do just because you like them and you're passionate about them. But I think the following of the like, ooh, this is interesting. I'm living in the moment. There's an opportunity. I think I'm being called that way, and just listening to that. That's what I think leads you there.
Well, here's what I think part of the problem is. I think we are trained, especially as women, as people of color, to not follow our desires. So we don't even know what we want. Right? Like, so I think we can't find our passion and we can't figure out what we want to do because we don't even know what we want because we have stopped listening to ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? You listen to so many other voices, or you just kill that voice inside every day to the point that you now can't hear it. And that's why you can't find your passion. So what I recommend to do is just wake up every morning and say, what do I need? What do I want? Just ask yourself that the moment you wake up and just listen for the answers that come, right? And then you start to just hone that listening instead of listening to all the other outside voices. Make sure you're listening to yourself as well and hearing your own voice. Practice it, because I do think that you can sort of dull the voice in your head and struggle, you know, to figure out what you actually want.
Yeah, true story. So back when I was trying to decide if I would leave the school, I asked my mom, and her response to me is, nobody likes their job. We just do it because you have to do it. And then you get to do the things you like to do on the weekends.
Yes.
And so she just thought I was the craziest person for wanting to quit my job, because no one likes their job.
That's not a thing we do.
You just do
Loving
what you
your
need to do
job
to
is
make
not a
money. And then after is when you have your fun.
Yes.
Interesting.
And to your point of like, we've been dulled down and conditioned. Like, I think that for a lot of people, that's what we've been conditioned to think. Like, you just do what you need to do to make money. And then if at any point you get a slither of time, maybe on that one vacation day they actually let you take.
Yes.
Or, you know, that one night that you didn't have to work because the project was done, like, then you can kind of maybe find that 1 hour to do something that you actually wanted to do.
Yeah.
This is a little bit, I think, generational too, right? There's a
100%.
generational trend in here where I think our generation is so much like, no, I want to find something that makes me money and I'm excited about, and find both. So some of this is generational, and some of it too is like the sequences of steps that you take in a family line.
Yes.
Right? Like, my family was very big on this, which was like, your only job is to just do something more than I did. But when you do that, and when families do that, which I think a lot of us are, we're experiencing something different than what our parents experienced in some capacity. When you do that, then some of those next steps mean that your job is to spend more time not just doing what you have to do, but doing what excites you. Right? Like, that's the growth of a family line.
I totally agree. Right. Like, enjoy your life for the ancestors that couldn't. Right.
I'm glad you guys said it that way, because in my head, I was taking it a different way. I was taking it like, because you have to do more pressure is on you. So then you really don't get to be who you are because you're living for your family.
Yes.
And
right. Well, I think the thing is that if you're going to do something more than your family, you're going to be doing stuff that they can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So the stuff that they're coaching you on is inevitably a little bit off, because they can only coach you on what they did and what they saw to their level.
Yeah. Right. Just think about the internet. The internet is still relatively new. Right.
Yeah.
Like, and all the tools we had, like when I started my business in 2010, a lot of these tools were Teachable didn't exist, right?
No,
like a lot of these tools were not available yet, right? Even just in the last 12 years. So I think that,
they may not get it.
Exactly. They're not going to get it because they're not seeing it's possible.
My mom's favorite line is like, girl, you're not working. You're just messing around on the computer. Which I'm like, I am on the computer. That's true. But I'm also running multiple businesses from this computer.
Yeah. And then they see you start buying property and start paying for their trips and paying their rent. And then
it takes a minute.
Then they come on board.
So you actually making real money on here.
Yeah.
How does this work?
But there's a delay in the same way that you were saying there is a delay in getting even your husband on board. There's a delay in everybody being on board. So if you're looking for everybody around you to be on board now, like, it's probably not going to play out that way.
You should expect to be misunderstood as an entrepreneur because you're creating the future that doesn't currently exist. The thing that you want to create doesn't exist yet. You have to build it, right? They can't see it, right? You're like Noah building an ark in the middle of the desert for 120 years. That sounds bananas, right? Everybody was mocking him. Nobody believed it, right?
Yeah.
And yet that flood sure came, right? Yeah. So did ours. Our floods came too, right?
And we had the ark already built. Like, that's the thing. We were ready at the right time.
Yes.
Somebody today asked me about, like, well, aren't most businesses or most wealth made during a recession? The answer is yes, but
you're ready.
You already have to be ready. Like, during the recession usually lasts for some time. So it could last for about a year.
Mhm.
During that year, you don't need to invest at the front end. You got to be getting ready, preparing things so that at the tail end, you're able to still have take advantage of the opportunity.
It's so true. Like even when the pandemic came, right? Like I've bought a lot of property in the last 2 years because the interest rates were so low. There were so many opportunities I was able to take advantage of because I had been building a business for 10 years prior to that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I had capital just ready and waiting to make moves.
To do it.
Yes, exactly. And so like start today, right? And be ready, right? Get yourself ready. The best time to have start is like probably 5 years ago. Next best time is today.
You can go through really any industry and see that as the model, right?
Yes.
That it looks like they took advantage right at the recession period, but there was some sort of iceberg underneath preparation that happened. If you look at big tech companies, for example, you look at like Airbnb and Uber and all these companies that started during recession periods, but it wasn't like the first time they thought about it.
Was
right? Or the first time they started collaborating and talking to friends about the idea and finding co-founders and partners. That wasn't the first time. It happened already. And then you were able to sort of have the right timing.
It's so true. It's so true. I had a video in 2020 go viral and people were like, oh, I'm so glad I found you, as if I started my business like just then. But I had been in business for 10 years prior to that, right?
Yeah.
Or 8 years, whatever. No, 10 years. Yeah, it was 10 years. So like it wasn't, because I had been in business, all of a sudden, this new audience was available to me, right? And like coming and being interested in working with us. And we already had a team. We already had the infrastructure, right? We already had the offer. We already had the expertise. So that when all of that flood of new clients came in, like if you were to build a business, or some of you who are business owners right now, if 1,000 new clients came to you today, you probably couldn't handle it, right? Even if 25 new clients, depending on what you do, you might not be able to handle it. So getting ready is key. And that means making those investments in yourself and in your business, and in time investments, effort investments, financial investments, right? Before you are going to see the immediate return, right? Before it's absolutely needed. If I had said, I'm going to wait and build my team on the other side of like, once I have big success or whatever, then it's too late. By then you're going to lose all those clients because you don't have enough people to serve them. So you have to believe, right? And get ready.
Here's the other thing you have to get ready is mindset.
Yes.
Too.
100%.
Because it's so easy to have growth in something, an opportunity come, but you're not ready for it.
It's so true.
You're not ready for it. I had to spend a lot of time with a hypnotherapist on my relationship with money.
Yes.
Like,
I gotta tell them about it because I love what she did for you.
Yeah, no, she's been so great. Her name is Abby. We worked on two main things. When I first met her, I was like, I need help with my relationship with money. And I knew that I needed help with my relationship with money because this was, I don't know, years ago when I was starting this business, when I was starting Apps Without Code. And we had a week where we made $100,000 in that week. And that was the most I'd ever made in a week at the time. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm catching up on some things at that weekend. I was catching up on some things and I needed to get my nails done, but I wanted to get the fancy design on my nails. And I was like, that's going to be too much money. I don't know.
Oh my God.
She made $100,000, but she doesn't want to spend like $20 on her nails. So that's too much. That's too much.
But it was like opportunities came, but my mindset was not ready for it. Was not ready. And so I knew then that I needed help. I actually had met a different hypnotherapist than the one that I started working with shortly thereafter. And I didn't want to work with her because it was too much money. Again, I didn't want to pay for it.
Relate.
Yeah,
I see yours in chat.
I don't want to spend the money.
Didn't want to spend the money
because you know why? Because people look at the cost and not the value of the thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to cost $250, or even the nails. The nails are going to cost $20. Okay, but how is it going to make you feel?
Right. When I go into this thing, I'm going to present myself better.
Now you're going to go live more, right? Now you're going to promote yourself more. Now you're going to make more money as a result, right? So like the $20 is a great investment that leads to probably 5 new clients, right? On the back end of that.
Right.
But we don't want to spend it because we're thinking about, I'm thinking about the $20 rather than the $5,000 on the back end.
Yep. No, that's exactly right.
I had this visualization when you said that, like we're thinking about it coming out of our pocket. Like we're literally thinking, okay, this $20, I'm thinking about how it's going to take away from me.
Yes.
Instead of how it's going to actually add to me.
Yes.
That's so powerful.
It's literally like that. To me, that's the key to unlocking like being a great investor or being in business, right? Being willing to sacrifice this small amount of money for the short term, and you're not really sacrificing it, you're investing it. so that you can see a return, and being willing to wait a little while to see that return and then see massive returns on the other side, you know?
Yeah.
Like for example, I just had a new masterminder join. My mastermind is $100,000. Okay. Put some respect on it, and it's worth every penny. So anyway, so she joined the mastermind in August, and she was hesitant, like a lot of people are, and a lot of people say no, right? And I get it. That's fine, right? So she spent $100,000. I just saw her this past week for our mastermind retreat. Less than 30 days later, she has made that $100,000 back.
So great.
And you know, so she made that $100,000 back, learned a new skill so she could do it every month if she wants to.
Yeah.
Right. And then also has this is just the beginning. That was just her earning back her return. And so I think people rob themselves of opportunities because they don't want to pay the cost to get the big value on the back end.
And what did it take mentally for you to be able to give that offer? Was it hard?
Charge that.
Oh, I was thinking about, because I stopped doing masterminds because I was like, well, my time, if I think about the value of my time, to take it away from the time I would spend in my business or the time that I would spend at home with my kids, it's just too high. So I was like, well, no one's going to pay that. So I'm just not going to do a mastermind, you know? And then I just started thinking like, well, the only way I could do a mastermind is if I charge 6 figures. Right. And so then I just thought about it for a long period of time. And then I was like, okay, fine. I'm just going to put it out there and see what happens. Right. So it took a while to sort of build up the courage a little bit
to do it.
Yeah, do it. But it was, I kind of got to the place where I was like, well, either people are going to buy it or not. And if they don't buy it, that's fine. I'm going to sit on the couch and chill. I'm going to hang out with y'all. I'm going to go get cocktails, get our nails done.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Hang out with my babies. Right. So it's like, if somebody says no to buying the offer, cool. I don't have to do the work. When I was practicing law, do you know how many times I would do the work and not get paid? Okay. On the back end of that, I'd rather not do the work and not get paid.
Do you guys think about money as energy flow at all? Or is that just my woo-woo self?
No, I think that's
since talking to you, yes. Yes. Like that is now part of my life.
Because that's sort of what we're talking about, right? The way that it's like, it's cyclical. It sort of flows back and forth, and you flow out and it flows back in. Yeah. And so many times we're trying to hold it.
Yeah. Holding it so tight, holding it so close. You're stunting the growth of that pile of cash. Yeah. It wants to grow, but you won't do the things because you're too shook to do the things to make it grow.
Yeah.
I got this understanding from this interview that I watched from this, I forget her name. She's like a South African actress, and she's explaining her relationship with money. And she's like, money feels comfortable around me. Like other people make money feel weird.
Too.
Yes. It's a viral video, but it's like money feels comfortable around me. Yes. So like when it comes and like other people are making it feel weird, but it'll come sit down next to me. Yes. Because I'm not making it feel weird. The energy of money is my friend. We're buddies. Not scared of it.
Money loves me. And so isn't that so much more powerful instead of constantly saying, I don't got enough money. I can't afford it. First of all, I don't even allow myself to say the words, I can't afford it. Like, I just no. I'm not bringing that. Flow. Yes, I can't. I'm not bringing that I can't afford vibe into anything. And also, afford to me is a construct in a lot of ways, right? I'm like, I can buy anything with my creativity. I can come up with a creative idea to buy the things that I want, which is what I usually do. So there's no point. There's nothing I can't afford. Yeah. You know, if that's the case, because I have endless creativity.
Myron was talking on a stage. We talked about Myron Golden earlier, and that's a big thing that he talks about. It's not so much that you can't afford it. What you're really saying is, I don't want to do that right now. Yes. Or I don't want to put in the effort to go figure out how to make this happen.
Oh, that too. Exactly. It's just another way of saying it's not worth it to me. It's not worth the energy. It's not worth the effort. I don't care enough. And that's fine. So that's why I tell people, like, it's not about your prices. When people say, no, I don't want to buy that thing, and they say, like, well, I got to lower my price. No one wants to pay that price. It's not that. What else about the offer could it be that's preventing them from buying it? We just assume that it's about the price. A lot of times it's not about the price. Maybe it's about the time. Maybe it's about they wanted something else thrown in, right? Like it could be something else entirely. It's not necessarily the price. We think it's about the price. We attach this thing that, oh, it must be the price. That's why they won't buy it. No, they're not buying it because they don't want it, right? It's not important enough to them, right? So talk to the people who do want it, where it is important to them. That's all you got to do.
And just for the people out there, I know some of you all might be thinking, well, you guys can afford it. Like y'all are on this stage. So like, that's why like you say this, but it's not so much that. It's more the mentality of maybe it's not so much that you can't afford it right now. Yes, your bank account may not have the dollars right now, but that means that in time, you could still get it.
Yes.
Yeah.
If it's something that you wanted, you can save up for it. You could figure out a way. You can talk to someone. But just the limiting belief, though, of I can't afford it will stunt your growth in some
100%.
aspects. So that's what we're saying.
Yes. What's a money move that you can make? Right? Like, what's a money move that you can make to make money move towards you?
Yeah.
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 And sometimes the thing you have to do to make it work is stop trying to make it for everybody. Like I see this happen all the time in my boot camp and my app training program that people are like, my app is for everybody. And the problem with trying to make it for everybody is there's so many people who are like not a good fit.
Yeah, if it's for
At
everybody,
all.
it's for nobody. You gotta call
Nobody.
your people out, right? Like if we buy
Yeah.
something, we want to feel like it's specifically for us.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so if you speak to exactly my situation, like, you know, a 40-year-old mom with kids or whatever, like, or whatever it is, even going
That's
deeper than that, personality wise, right? Different attributes, right? Like, you got to go deep and find, like, talk to your people. Don't be afraid to talk to your people and say no to the people you don't want to work with. People always think it creates lack, but actually it creates abundance.
Yeah.
The more you say no, the more standards you have, right? It's like the more people want it.
Yeah.
The more you chase people and have desperate vibes, the more they run away from you.
Yeah. But the riches are in the niches and you going
They really
specific.
are.
Yeah.
They really are. And you get to actually be around the people you like.
Yes.
Because
That
like if
too.
you're running a business, like we're back into are you doing it for them or doing it for you?
Right.
When you start really honing in on who you want to work with, then those people will be around you.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden you have a better business.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's so true. It's so true.
Let me see what other questions people are asking. Okay, guys, this is the time. Put in your questions. I know you've been putting them in throughout.
Yes.
But if you have anything else you want to talk to us about, come in. Bring them in now.
Now's your chance.
Now's your
Right,
chance.
now's your
There's a
chance.
lot of
Give 'em a
genius on this
minute.
couch.
Yes. And how are y'all doing on time? Y'all all right? Because we're going a little bit, but I know we started a little later. So we're going to make sure we give you guys all the value that we can. We flew in for this. Aren't y'all happy?
Yeah.
Like to be like, yeah, we flew in so that we could all be at Rachel's beautiful ranch. Thank you for having us.
Oh my
This
gosh,
is
anytime.
gorgeous.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. Like you
So
guys
fun.
like
Stunning.
literally when you come onto Rachel's property, there's these huge tall trees. It's like the trees are, maybe this is energy. You give this to me. But like
did
it's
this
like
to me.
the trees are saying hi to you. They start like blowing in
to
the
the waving
wind.
hi.
It's just like it's just so relaxing. So thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
It's
really
lovely.
is refreshing.
It's a chill vibe.
yeah.
It's
You
a
know
chill
what?
vibe.
The internet is a lot. Kids are a lot. I need chill vibes.
Yeah.
So, and I love sharing it with my friends. So,
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
okay. I saw
right.
a question in there that was saying, how do you differentiate between actual work and busy work?
Yes. So to tell you the truth, I haven't mastered this.
Yes.
Recently, I've been in a like no work.
no busy work, no actual work, no
busy
work at all.
Where I am is like in between paralyzed. I don't want to do nothing.
And you deserve that. You get to
Yes.
have that for a
Breaks are
minute. You get to
important.
have that.
That's true.
Mhm.
I have been working like so hard for so long. This is something I've
Yes.
realized for myself. Like
Yes.
we hit some huge milestones recently, but I
Yes.
just kept going and
Yep.
didn't acknowledge them. To our points earlier, like
Yeah.
I didn't celebrate them. It was just like keep going, keep pushing.
Yep.
But now my body's like, can I get you to take a break?
Yes.
Can I get you to actually just rest? Like, let's drink more
Yep.
water. Let's get your sleep on track. Let's get your
Yes.
stress down.
Yes.
So those
And
are
that's
part
where
of
the
my free
ideas and the innovation come.
It's so true.
Mhm.
I did that after my book launch. Because I definitely went way too hard. People were like, "Pace yourself. It's a long marketing period." And I'm like, "Brr, I'm going hard," right? Like, didn't
Yeah.
listen to anybody.
Yeah.
And definitely burnt myself out. Literally, like within weeks of the book launching, I was like, "Potty done. I ain't got nothing for you, even if I wanted to." Potty done. So yes, rather than burn yourself out, pace yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Take care of yourself on a daily basis. Rest, move your body, right? Like
Mhm.
have downtime, release the stress,
Yeah.
release the anxiety. I think that's such an
Yeah.
important part of the
Love it.
cadence.
Do you guys have frameworks around actual work versus busy work?
I do. I do this with my team, my leadership team, and I got this framework from my friend Thomas Stovall. So what I ask everybody on my leadership team, and I do this with myself too, is what is the one most important action you could take this week to move the needle forward in the business?
Yes.
And it takes some practice to do this, and it helps to have someone sort of be accountability. But sometimes people will write something that they're excited about.
Yes.
And I have to go, is that the thing that will move the needle forward significantly? If not, and delete.
Or just think it. Because sometimes my team will be like, you never say yes to our ideas. It's not that it's a bad idea, but is it right for right now?
Yeah. Right. So like this is where the second part of the framework comes in. So I asked them to do two things. One is the one most important thing that's going to move the needle forward. And the second one is one moonshot that you're going to take. It's probably never going to land, but you're going to shoot for it anyway. And that's where you get to put the stuff that you're just excited about, that you think like, if we did this, it would be awesome. Okay. So one moonshot, one most important action. It has to be a thing that you actually can control. Yes. So saying something like, I'm going to close this deal with a customer, you can't fully control that, but you can control sending the email to schedule the meeting. Yeah. So it has to be a thing you can control, so you can have like a series of yeses. Yeah. Yes, I did it every week. Yeah. Because that feels good to have your yeses across the board, and eventually some of the moonshots hit and the things that you're trying to do to move the needle hit.
I love that.
Oh, that's good.
So good. So good. My way of doing actual work versus busy work is I just do the things that are in my strengths, and like everything else is assigned to other people that are in their strengths, basically. So I don't spend a lot of time in my inbox. I don't spend a lot of time doing things that I'm not supposed to be doing, right? Yeah. And I spend so much time in front of a camera now, like teaching or coaching or doing things like this, that I literally can't, right? Because right now I can't check my email, or I can't go, busy myself with, my work hours are so limited, right? And so I'm like, these are the hours that I can get things done, and that is it. And so I'm just like, get it done, right? These are the priorities, get them done. And then I don't do anything else. So I think the key is like shortening the list and then limiting the time. Because I think whenever you say, well, I could work for whatever, then you work until 11 o'clock at night. Yeah. I got babies to go home to. So I have like a built-in has to go. Deuces, right? I will see you, right? At 5 o'clock, I'm out, typically. So, I don't have a hard time leaving the office at the end of the day, because there's always going to be more work. And so I think the stuff that doesn't get done at the end of a week, if you limit your hours and focus on only the things that need to get done, is the busy work. And it's the actual work that you focus on. And I always say, like, where's the sale? What's the actions that are going to generate the sale? What are the actions that are going to generate results for our clients, right? Or what are the actions that's going to create more systems and process and help our team? That's all I need to focus on, and forget everything else, If it don't get done, oh, well, it didn't get done. And trust me, here's the other thing. I have people today, I had very aggressive people like messaging me on every channel. They send me an email, they send me a text, they call me, right? And they just like say, I need an answer today. You ain't getting it today. Not today. You're just gonna have to be mad. Okay. Yeah. Because I'm busy. Your priorities are not necessarily my priorities, right? And you're just gonna have to wait. And that's $1 million boundary, right? So just having boundaries as well, prioritizing yourself and what your goals are, and then leaving the rest to like, if I get to it, I get to it. And if I don't, that's fine, because it wasn't a priority anyway.
Yeah. And I bet there are people hearing this and hearing about how you delegate everything else to a team and thinking like, I don't have a team. What do I do if it's just me? Yes. I know that when I was starting, I would barter for my team. When I didn't have money to pay people, I would find people that I really wanted to work with, and we would have a sit down conversation, and I would just ask them about like what they were up to in life, what they were trying to accomplish. Yes. And I would try to scan and find a thing that I could help with. And so I did so many like service barters when I started before I could pay people that I'll help you with this, you help me with this. And then you've got a team, and it doesn't have to be a pay, because the reality is, as an entrepreneur, you're doing something that people think is cool. You're doing something that like maybe people don't have the courage to do themselves, and people want proximity to that. And so you can use this kind of bartering for services. I think bartering is a great idea.
The other thing that I do is use apps, right? So like Instacart, right? TaskRabbit,
I love TaskRabbit.
Like there's so many apps out there where you can get one thing done, or where you can, have your groceries delivered so you don't have to go get them, and take that off of your plate, right? Whatever support you need. And like my sister, for example, she's got a side hustle as a real estate investor. And so she used to always work with the other moms and barter, like, you pick up my kids on this date,
Right.
I'll pick up your kids on that date. And they just used to
Mm-hmm.
help each other.
In community.
Yes,
In community.
it's so beautiful.
And if you're looking for places to barter, conferences, like I
Yes.
love going to conferences because that's where you meet other people with that interest. Like I went to,
That's where we met.
yeah, we did.
Yeah.
At the Convert Kit conference.
Exactly.
There it is.
Exactly.
And then I just went to Funnel Hackers for ClickFunnels.
Yes.
If you want to figure out how to do funnels, you go to the
meet people.
conference.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's like Vid Summit. There's a summit for everything.
Totally.
Go there and then you can barter.
Yes.
Yeah. Mhm.
There's an event somewhere and probably even near you, right? There might even be an event in your city or in your town where
Yeah.
other entrepreneurs are getting together, and just like put some intention and some effort in to find your people.
Mm-hmm.
And then the work to do is to get out of your own way, out of your own money mindset of, oh, I don't know if I should pay for the flight and the ticket and the this and the
Right.
that, to then
You
invest
need
in
it.
yourself. You need it.
You're gonna find something there, and if you don't find it there, like don't put the expectation on the speakers on the stage. That's probably
No.
not where you're gonna find the gym.
It's
The
true.
gym is gonna be like, make sure you introduce yourself to the people around you.
Yes.
At least one, if you find a speaker where you're like, I don't really have to be there, go in the hallway. Because honestly, a lot of conversations happen just
That's so
sitting in
much
the
magic.
hallway, talking to people, and then you're like getting to know them. So at ClickFunnels, I should have said hi. I should have like now I'm kind of like, dang, I should have really taken advantage of that opportunity. But I was at ClickFunnels and I'm just walking in the hall and nobody else is really around because I guess everyone went inside. And I look up and then Marie Folio is just walking by. I'm like, hi, Marie. Hey. Like, and to me, like
Yes.
I've kind of looked up to her for a while. So it was just kind of cool. Like when you're there and just have yourself there, sometimes just ran into random
Yes.
people.
There's so much opportunity to connect with people.
Yeah.
Friends, people, and like people are just people, right? Even here
Mhm.
today, you were here earlier and some of my clients were
Yeah.
here. They stopped to
Yeah.
talk to you for 5 minutes, right? And you encouraged them and they were like, oh my gosh, that conversation was confirmation for what I need to do next, right?
That's
It's
so
just
good.
like those little moments, those little conversations in between, that's where all the
Yeah.
value is.
Yeah.
I have to put on an alter ego to talk to people, to talk to strangers
You
like
should-
that.
Yeah, you
because
should talk
I'm
about
not-
your ego.
I have
Yeah.
to because I'm not typically like excited about talking to strangers.
Oh, yeah,
I would like
me
to be
neither.
on my computer by myself. Like that's my
Yeah.
mode.
Yes.
So I kind of have to like put on something else. But this has been something that's really been working for me lately. And I'm noticing that I'm using my intuition
Yeah.
to like lean into like, I think I should talk to that person. And I think
Yes.
we've all had that before.
Yeah,
like,
you
I
feel
think I
it.
should talk to that person. I met
Yeah.
someone on the plane yesterday that I was like, I
Yeah.
think I should talk to that person. And I just saw like out of the corner of my eye something that was on their computer. And I was like, use it. Okay,
Yes.
put on the character for a second. The character would have no problem just being like,
Yeah.
oh, do you do this? Do you work in education? We're working on getting our
Yeah.
programs in schools. Do you work in education? And like, oh, we talked the whole plane ride.
Yeah.
And I had to be in a different character to do it, but like that's what I got to do.
Yeah.
Listen, find your trick.
Yeah.
What for you?
And I'm gonna pump up Tara. Y'all go to Tara's Instagram is Tara Reed _ and you'll see these beautiful pictures that she did of each of her
Yes.
personas. And they
I
are
love it.
gorgeous. But do you want to tell them at all?
Also
anything
very
about that?
inspiring.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, I'm really into art. To me, like, I create these challenges for myself to get out of my own way and to step into the next version of myself. And it's
Yes.
a lot easier for me to do that in some sort of artistic expression. And so I did this photo shoot. I have a new one that's getting ready to come out. I'm very excited.
I can't wait to. I want to see the pictures.
Yeah. But typically what I do is like, there's another version of myself that I know is possible.
Yeah.
And what I do is I like try it on. Like,
Yeah.
try on the
I
I
character.
love that so much.
Mhm.
So good.
cool.
And I try to capture it in photos or video, like a thing that I do.
Yes.
And it feels like a ceremony in
Yeah.
a way for me,
Ooh.
because like once you've done it, once you've captured or done the thing or done the challenge, well, like now you're it.
Yes.
This even happened to me. I recently moved to Mexico City and I got an apartment that felt like it was beyond. It was like the next thing. I really love design.
I always
was
recommend.
like, yep.
You got to go beyond. Like, don't
Yep.
buy the house that you want now. Buy the house that you will want in a year.
Future
Yep.
self.
Yep.
Yeah. That future
And when
self
I
wants to
got
live
there,
that.
it was like, oh, I'm pretty sure a badass lives here.
Yeah, exactly.
And who else is it other than me? So
It must be
tomorrow
me.
when you wake up, you gotta be, it's you. It's you. And it worked like that. Like I had that
so
conversation with myself. It was like, it's you, girl. So when you wake up tomorrow.
I love that so much. And it speaks to environment. That's why I put a lot of time and effort into like my environment and very intentional about what I choose. Right. And, you know, I think it's because when you wake up in a space, like it's speaking to you, it's saying things to you, right? And so you may not be able to do a whole redesign, right? But what could you do to make your desk feel a little nicer, right? Or to just put up a piece of art that's been rolled up in your closet for 5 years, if you're like me, right? Like start taking those out and actually get it framed and put it up on the wall, right? Like put some effort into making your space beautiful because you deserve that. And then when you do that, even lighting candles, it could be so simple, right? All of these different ways to make your space feel better. It just makes you feel better and you feel like a boss and it helps you to get into momentum.
Yes.
That's why it's worth it to do those things, right? It helps you to get up and be like, I'm a badass. Let's go do this, you know?
Random fact, your candle in the bathroom smells amazing.
Thank you very
Like-
much. You can thank Bethany for that. I had nothing to do
Bethany,
with
good
it.
job. Because that candle, like, I was like, I'm going to just sit here for a minute.
Just be in the vibe of the candle.
Let me just experience this. Listen,
It makes a difference.
I'm obsessed with hosting people. I love hosting people. I love putting on parties. I love hosting events.
Yeah.
And curating experiences, you know what I mean? So like,
Mhm.
I get mad if there's no, I'm like, babe, if we have people over our house, I'm like, why is there not a candle lit in the bathroom? Let me go find a candle.
Do you want to put on blast like the experience you're going to have soon coming up in January?
Oh, yes. We are having an amazing retreat in your hometown, your new hometown.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico. Yes, it's called ROI, Return on Investment. And it's our biggest conference that we've ever had. And it is only open to club members. So we have a club called We Should All Be Millionaires, the club. It's our lowest cost way of working with us. If you want to learn how to build a business and scale your business, you can do it there. It's a great community. All of our Schmillies, shout out to any Schmillies that are in the chat here who are joining us today. But if you become a Schmillie, you can come to this event and it's going to be dope. It's like the speakers that we're securing are off. First of all, I'm like, please get these contracts signed so I can announce them. It's driving me bananas.
Lovely.
So
Cannot wait. Laura's holding me up. But it's going to be such an amazing experience. And we're going somewhere beautiful to have a beautiful experience, you know, and there's going to be partying and music and fun and dinners and lots of learning, workshops, inspiration, amazing speakers.
I'm going to be a speaker.
Yes, exactly. And we're having Schmillies communicating as well. Like, so we're having our clients. You can, if you become a Schmillie, you can put your ring in the hat to become a speaker. So we're going to have 10 of our Schmillies speaking as well. That's what we're going to open the conference with. So it's all about, you know, highlighting diverse entrepreneurs and showing all the different pathways that you could become a millionaire. So
That's so good.
Yeah.
Let's take a few more questions and then we can talk about how people can find stuff to learn. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and that was a question just in terms of names. Rachel Rodgers, Tara Reid, Teri Ijeoma. Website.
Hello7.co.
appswithoutcode.com. And I think if they look below,
there's
It's in there
probably
too in the
link as well.
description.
and to things that we have coming up for classes and workshops and things.
True.
Yes.
And then tradeandtravel.com.
Yes.
There you got it.
Somebody
There was a
asked what's
question.
Schmillie. A Schmillie is short for millionaire. Okay. That's what we refer to our clients as.
I love it.
And you can thank Cardi B for that.
All right, I'm gonna rapid fire questions because I don't like to tell them to do it and then we don't ever get to it. So you got like 30-second response on these, and I'm gonna pick who's going.
One person.
Tara, how do you prioritize your mental health?
Ooh, okay. I prioritize it a lot. Usually it comes up for me that I need to. Like the call comes because I'm like in anxiety. For me, it's anxiety. And I create challenges for myself around getting into a better mental health space.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I feel like you also have like your hypnotherapist, right? You work with people to help you too.
I do. That's
Rachel, how do you stay focused when you have a lot of negativity around you?
Ooh, well, I go for a run and I rage in my head while I'm running and then I get over it. Then when I come back from the run, I'm like, oh, I feel better.
I love that. That's
Okay,
good.
So
okay.
you can go for
Try
a
that.
walk. Just I feel physical activity is how I process like anger or just emotions that I want to get out.
That's
Great.
what's up. Terry, so what are your next milestones? I really want to be more healthy. I did a health week the other week. I went to every doctor, like gynecology, heart, brain, all doctors.
Yeah.
So I want to
Like,
get
check
to
the
a
whole
point
thing
where
out.
they say
Mhm.
like, good. Yeah. Right now they were like, nah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my big milestone. Rachel, back to you. When did you get a team?
When did I get a team? I started hiring people within, I would say, the first year was when I got a VA. So yeah, I was pretty quick about hiring people because I think it's a must. You're going to go so much farther if you have help, especially with the parts that you struggle with.
That's good. Tara, how do you determine what's really important and needle moving?
Ooh, okay. So something that's needle moving. So, okay, what I do is I have like 2 or 3 initiatives and I call them bets. Like 2 or 3 bets that I'm making on my business. And so it has to be something that's going to get us significantly closer to the bet.
Yeah.
So it can't be like a random thing. It has to be connected to the bet.
Yes. So if it's not connected to your direct goals, then you say no.
Yeah, that's right. And I think the direct goal is specific. It's
Yes.
like really clear. Like I have 2 direct bets in my company right now. 1, we want to have our curriculum in schools all over the world. And 2, we want to have our new software that we're working on be something that allows more people to create their own apps.
Yes.
Right? Like those are the bets. That's what we're betting on. That's what
Yes.
I'm betting on. That's what the team's betting on. And so what's going to actually move the needle to get to that?
Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah.
That's so good. I'm going to answer this one, but I'm not good at it. So this is y'all can keep me accountable for it. So this question is, what are your best practices around eating, sleeping, and exercise? So according to my doctors, this is what I need to be doing. And this is what I will be doing. Y'all can keep me accountable.
Okay.
When I first wake up, I need to have Pedialyte next to the bed. And I actually have to drink the Pedialyte before I get out of bed.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So work
And-
on electrolytes, hydration.
Yeah, hydration. I got to drink more water. And then
Yes.
every 2 hours, I need to drink a bottle of water.
Okay.
My uncle's going to be so proud of me right now for saying that out loud. Yes, he always sends me the like Apple app. I mean, the drink water app.
Yeah.
And then in terms of exercising, the best time to actually burn fat is if you exercise before you eat anything. So as soon
That's
as I
when I
get
do
up,
it.
if I can go walk or something like that. So that's going to be my goal. Go walk
Yes.
30 minutes right when I get up so that it'll burn fat, because after you eat, it'll start burning carbohydrates.
Yes.
I'm telling you, like all my friends who talk to me about this are going to be like, Terry heard us.
Yeah.
Listen, we're going for a walk tomorrow morning.
Okay, done.
How
But
early?
I know, right? I know.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. So my 30 seconds, those are some of the things that I've heard that I need to do that I'm trying to incorporate.
And she's
Yeah.
starting as of tomorrow.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Tara, what are some strategies to get in front of more people?
Ooh.
Okay. So it depends on what kind of people you want to get in front of. There's 2 things though. One, I think that you should just like blast, share on whatever social network that you're on, Facebook, Instagram, etc., like what you're up to, and get in a rhythm of just like sharing either in a caption or a post.
Yes.
For me, I think it sometimes looks a little bit more like I have like a friends and family of my work in the business email list that I have, but it could look like that, or it could look like Facebook or whatever, just like putting yourself out there.
Yes.
But I think if you're thinking about a business and getting in front of customers, you have to get in front of the actual potential customer.
Right.
So for
Mhm.
example,
not just
anybody, right? So like, for example, I have lots of folks that want to like white label an app. So like take their logo off and put somebody else's logo on. And let's say that your customer are doctors' offices, right?
Yeah.
Going to talk to your mama and your cousin and them about
Yeah,
it
help it.
is not gonna help. They're gonna send you on a
cousin and them.
Right now.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. It's going to send you on a goose hunt of like some feedback. This is the
Yes.
wrong feedback. So it may need to be exactly those people. And like sometimes even like you go on LinkedIn and you search for someone's job title and send some outreach about like what you're working on. And you have to get to the right person though.
Yes.
But people are all over the internet saying what they do and what they like. And so looking for those things and identifying those work.
That's so good.
One of the things I always say is just create a list of 100 people that you know and ask them to either become a client if they would fit the profile, or send somebody to you if they know somebody, and tell them exactly what you're doing and who you're looking for and how you can serve them, and then ask them if they can become a client or share it with at least one person. When you make that ask, that's how I got my first few clients. And so many of the people that I have actually interviewed on my podcast have told me that's exactly how they got their first few clients. So put yourself out there. Announce the business as at least a minimum first step.
Your first clients are people you know.
Exactly. Or know somebody that you know.
Yes.
And somebody else's cousin, or, whatever.
And them.
And them.
Rachel, while you're talking about this, someone asked, like, how do you prioritize your goals?
How do I prioritize my goals? Well,
or maybe even like, just how do you organize your priorities? That'd be better.
I basically eat and sleep my goals. I'm pretty hungry for my goals to happen. So it's not hard for me to go after them, because I wake up thinking about it, right? Like, I want to make those goals happen. And I just structure my day, right? I have my work days. I have my days where I'm meeting with the team. I have days where I'm meeting with clients. And then I have days where I'm resting or just taking care of myself. And then I have days where I'm, like getting new clients or putting myself out there for different things, like recording a podcast or whatever. So I think you just organize your life, right? Like, organize your calendar and just try to stick with it as much as possible. And I know that Bethany is over there. That's my EA giving me the side eye, but that's my answer, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah. She's like, she don't be prioritizing.
But listen, even part of the system is Bethany, right? Because she will save me from myself, which I'm so grateful, because I always think I can do more than I actually have energy for. So she'll be like, I'm going to say no on your behalf, even though I know you just said to say yes, but I'm going to go ahead and say no, because you're just going to make me cancel at the last minute anyway, because you're going to be exhausted. Yeah. So it's a no. Okay. So like, hire people and empower them to save you from yourself.
Yeah. That's good.
And I think there's seasons where you want like to-do list. Yes. And there are seasons where you want to be in flow of what like feels good. Mm-hmm. And I sometimes have moments where I know that the season's shifting.
Yes.
Typically, if I'm in like a flow season and I'm like starting to feel overwhelmed by like all the stuff I've got to do, it's time to like switch over to like write it out, get the Asana board out, or whatever you do this season. Mm-hmm. And then there are times where I am just completely ignoring the to-do list. Like I'm not on schedule, stuff's going, and I'm like, oh, that's the time to move back into like flow season.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I totally agree. Like the summer, I don't want to work that hard in the summer. I just feel like it's vacation time. Why isn't summer vacation like when we were kids?
I'm gonna give this one to you all to think on while I answer a different one. So the one I'm gonna give you all to think on is, how do you balance your job and getting to launch your business? And then the one that I'm gonna answer on here is, someone says here, I'm an inspiring, and this is Aye, says, I'm an inspiring engineer. Please, how can I sell my idea to the right people who can invest in it, particularly in a country where my field of work isn't taken seriously? And actually, what I want to tell you is, take the objection. Like, you've already put out there that you're in your country, your field is not taken seriously. And that's what you're projecting. So take that objection and figure out, how do I overcome this objection? If in my country things are not taken seriously, then it sounds like you need to go to a different place.
Yes.
Yeah. And now all of a sudden that is off the table. Now they're taken seriously. And then the thing is, okay, well, now how do I get people to invest in it? Well, is it investable? Mm-hmm. And are you in front of the right people?
And are you investing in it? Right. That's also a part of it. Like, they need to see that you're committed. I'm an investor, so I've invested in companies. I know you have, right? Mm-hmm. You've acquired companies, right? Yeah. So we've all made investments in other businesses, and we're usually investing in like an outcome that we believe can happen. And usually a founder has a lot to do with it. Like, do we believe in this founder and what they've built or what they are building? And that's key. So again, I'm going to go back to, you got to sell it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So true. And one thing I've been dealing a lot with myself, guys, is I put boundaries on myself that are not there. So for example, like, y'all know I went to Maldives recently. I've been having that on my dream and bucket list forever. But I've always had not always, but for the last while, I've had the money to afford the trip, but it just stayed on the list because I didn't do it. There was no reason. Like, if you find that there's something that you keep saying, like, oh, I'm going to do that, or I want to do that, do it. Yeah. Just stop complaining. Just go buy the ticket. Just do it. Yeah. There's no excuse on it. You've said it enough times. Do it.
I love when she get in her principal energy. Stop
like,
telling me
"Look,
about it. Do it or don't do it. But either way,
do something. Yeah.
make a decision.
I have some friends that are like, dang, if you tell me something, the next time I see you, you can't say the same thing.
And she will actually be like, what happened with that? And I'll be like,
Following
well,
up.
what happened was
Do it. And then y'all can do the same to me because there's some like hiring and stuff I'm supposed to be doing.
we
Y'all
gonna
go on
talk about that.
Go on
We
and
gonna
do
talk
it.
about that.
But just do it. Like if there's something on your list and you've said it more than 2 or 3 times to yourself, at this point, it's time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
also
time.
too, I get tired of saying to myself, I'm gonna make this happen and then not make it happen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I
Mhm.
get tired. I would like annoy myself continuing to talk about it and not taking action.
This is where making it a game for me works.
Yes.
Because I
Everything
think about
is a game for you.
everything. Well, that works for me. So I got to trick myself with whatever works. Right. For me, the whole like everything's a video game, and I'm gonna like do a thing. I get points for it because you get like you like these points where you're like, I'm proud of myself. I feel differently about myself. So I crafted into a challenge for myself.
Yes.
That's so good. Well, and that goes to the launch thing. So, and then this, I think.
Well, somebody you gave us a question.
Yeah,
which
this is the question.
Oh,
How do you balance your job and getting to launch your business?
Okay, great. So I was working a full-time job at Microsoft when I launched my first company. And at the time I had seen on Twitter that this guy had rented out, he left Union Square Ventures, which was a big VC firm, and he had rented out Kickstarter's old office. And he was starting this side project accelerator program to help people launch their side projects. And at the time I wasn't really trying to launch a business. I just wanted to launch a thing that I had autonomy over, and I was excited about it, right? So I got into this program, but the problem was I was living in Seattle working at Microsoft, and the program was in New York.
Mhm.
And I just hadn't thought it through. I don't know. I didn't think it through. I was just moving with momentum of what excited me. And my partner at the time was like, what is the point of having this cushy tech job if you can't fly to New York every single week to do this program?
Wow.
And so you know how
You know what that's called? Effort.
Effort.
Okay?
That's what
Find a way
effort.
is what that's called.
It was effort. And you know how like the airlines have like the credit cards, and like when you sign up, they give you a bunch of points.
Yes.
Right. So I would fly to New York on my points. I would get like an Airbnb. I remember I stayed in like bunk bed. They were bunk bed. Like,
When I first was traveling, I was traveling in hostels. Like
Yeah.
you do what needs to be
I've
done.
seen
you
the very
do.
basic hostels. My husband was mad.
yeah.
Because he was like, I used to have a nice life until I got with you.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it's nice again now.
So I don't know. It is nice.
It is very nice.
True.
You need to be invited. Join the $100,000 mastermind.
And then you'll
Just
be
so
here.
you know.
Then you
Yes.
can hang out here.
Right out here. Yeah.
Y'all
So I think the question was like, how do you balance?
Yeah.
And I don't know if at the time it felt like this peaceful, harmonious balance. It felt like me getting the credit card point numbers right so that I could get my flights together so that I could go learn what I needed to learn.
Yes.
And I'm so glad I did that because like in the middle of doing that, Microsoft laid off 80,000 people and I lost my job.
Wow.
And
But you were already ready.
But I was already
You
ready.
was already ready.
I was already making money with the
Listen.
app. I was already, so I gave myself a couple months and we ended up getting into 500 Stars, which is a big accelerator. We started having momentum in that way, but it was because it didn't feel like balance. It felt like stretch and effort
Yes.
to not be balanced for
Yeah.
a short period of time to figure out how to make it work.
Yes.
Ooh, that was confirmation for somebody.
Yes, I
Somebody
think
needed to
so.
hear,
I think
like,
so.
you need to stretch yourself right now, especially if you are in a job that you think may get a layoff during recession. That's what recession is. The Fed chair just said, like, we got to have more layoffs until this is like rectified.
Yeah.
So we know more people will get laid off in this season. Then you need to be stretching yourself so that you are ready
Yes.
to do the next thing.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. We call it moonlighting.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and I
Yes.
acknowledge a lot of the students and folks that I work with that are building apps are moonlighting. They're working on their day job during the day and they're working on their app idea in the evening in the moonlight.
Yes.
That's how I started my business. I would get up at 5 a.m, work until 8. I crunched like getting ready for work to 30 minutes. I would run because I could walk to work. So I would like go. I was always late, even though I was literally lived 5 minutes away, and get to work. And then during lunch, I would use that time to work on my business. As soon as I left, I would come home, work on my business again. And then I'd have like an hour at night to myself.
Yeah.
That
Which is
was
not
me too.
balance.
It's not balanced, but when you want to make something happen, that's you're starting something, right?
Yeah.
Like to get a bicycle going,
Yeah.
You like it's slow in the beginning.
A little wobbly, a little imbalanced.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so you got to put more effort in. Then you start to gain momentum and you go faster, right? But in the beginning, you got to put a lot of effort in to get it off the ground.
Yeah.
You know?
And I will say, as for those that are traders, I've had to learn how to turn off things in certain seasons.
Yeah.
If I am launching the business, then I may not trade as much. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think at one point I felt like, well, people are going to say that I'm not a trader if I'm not trading every day. But no, there are seasons. If you're going really hard on your business, do that and focus on that. Put all your energy towards it. And then there's other times where my business is okay and I can trade more.
Yes.
So it might just be like seasonal versus trying to find balance to do both at the same time.
Yes, exactly. Right. Like now is not the time to like volunteer for the PTA, right? Like tell the PTA you're not available right now and you try again later.
Get you a Bethany to say no.
Yes.
Tell her send an email for you. I'm sorry, Miss PTA president, but we ain't bringing the cookies this time.
No bake sale for us.
Yeah. So much of entrepreneurship is deciding what you're to say no to.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm not doing that.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, y'all.
Yeah, I think we're good.
I think we did that.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys.
This was so
Thank
fun.
you.
I hope that you found it valuable. And I would love to see in the chat, like, what's one thing you're going to take action on that you heard today?
Yes.
Because that's the key, right? You can learn all the things, you can hear all the things, you can be inspired. But if you don't go turn it into some action, things will stay the same, right? So you got to add some action to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I love it.
As folks are typing that in, I know that we all have sort of other different ways for folks to learn some of the things that we do and teach. Can you talk about what those things are and where people find that information?
Yes.
Yeah, for me, definitely, like you all are here on the YouTube channel. Keep coming back because we're always putting out more stuff about trading and what's going on in the economy. So definitely put that out. We also have shows like Trade and Travel Life. So you'll soon see my trip to the Maldives. And then we have the Make It Make Sense where we're like talking about investing things. So definitely keep coming back here. Soon, one of the big things that we're going to work on is how to get your money back. A lot of people have lost money in the stock market this year, and that's traders and long-term investors.
Yes, it's true.
Because the 401ks have been dipping down, all kinds of things. So join us here, and we're going to be talking about, especially in the next couple months, just how do you get your money back?
So they can follow you on this account.
Yeah. So follow us here on Trade and Travel. And we have like free webinars here and tradeandtravel.com. But yeah, follow this. Please subscribe. Yes. Like and subscribe. Like this video and subscribe on YouTube.
Awesome. Well, I'm actually just launching the Hello 7 podcast on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/Hello7. And so you can catch us over there. We have a brand new, like this is the set for the podcast. It's so dope. I'm so excited. You get to see B-roll from the ranch that I live on and the horses and the guests interacting with the horses. It's going to be awesome. So definitely check us out. And I interview successful entrepreneurs, usually of diverse backgrounds, who are making millions. And so you can learn from them and hear their stories and learn what they did to build their businesses. So find us there. And then you can also find us on hello7.co or catch us for our next challenge, which is the Make Money Moves Challenge.co.
Yeah. And I think the link to your challenge is somewhere in the
look in the description. Join us in the notes, the show notes. Check that out.
Fun. This is a paid challenge. It's not free because by now you know that I basically don't do anything for free. Just kidding. The podcast is free.
We're not kidding out here.
Anyway, it's a paid challenge and it is transformational. Okay.
I love it.
Okay. How about you?
Okay. And then I have a challenge coming up where I'm going to show you how to come up with app ideas and also how to build one. So we're going to build we're going to build a replica of Yelp together. And so in 3 days, you will have built your own Yelp app and it's going to be really fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's like demystifying something that I'm so interested in, but that's so hard to do.
Yeah. It's
so
sort of
exciting.
drag, drop, point, click, and then you give the app instructions in English so anyone can do it.
I love it too, because it's like, that's so tangible. At the end of the week, you're going to have something done.
Yes.
You have skills.
Yes. Clarity on your own app ideas and then a finished building an example of one that you can use with your friends.
Yes. So cool.
If y'all got some nuggets from this, please share it with your friends. Press like and subscribe.
Did you tell them where to find the channel?
Oh, it's in the chat. So you can just click. If you look in the description, there's a link for it.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yay! Thank y'all for coming. We hope you guys enjoyed this.
Yes, thank you so much for
Let
your
us know if
time
you
and
want more of
attention.
this.
Yeah, let us know if you'd like us to do more of this for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Bye, y'all.
Bye.
That was awesome.
Yay.